Okay.
Hello and welcome. It's so lovely for you to join us today. I am absolutely delighted to introduce the most amazing woman that I've had the pleasure to meet, a powerhouse of knowledge and information, and she has taught me so much. Since starting Wellbeing Wednesday, over a year ago now, the beautiful, wonderful June Tranmer has helped me immensely, and I am so grateful. So, welcome, June. How are you doing?
Well, do you know, when I finally got to meet you back at the gala dinner, it was just amazing because I feel like I know you so well from during the Wellbeing Wednesdays, and we've made such a lovely team that, works together really well, even if we're kind of just going, what are we doing today? Sometimes, every week it's been interesting,
Every
and
week is
it's
different.
challenging, and this some topics are tricky to do, and other topics are really full of joy, and it's like I feel that somehow we're yeah. Well, let's go back to how I found it in the first place, because you were
Yes,
in at the beginning of the PHA, and I was kind of there doing other things, trying to help with the hubs. And you were organizational wise, and I didn't get to meet you for a while. But then you started the Wellbeing Wednesday thing, and I was always on the holistic, let's get what's going to be going on in the hubs, try and get the hubs rolled out because that's our core thing.
absolutely.
Um, and I really, really wanted a hub here in York where I live, and there was lots of other people who wanted the same. So we plowed on having meetings for 2 years before we finally got
Wow.
our first hub. Yeah, my goodness me. But yeah, so Wellbeing Wednesday came along, and I just went, yeah, this is it. Because really, basically, I've been in practice as an acupuncturist and a kinesiologist and a teacher for almost 40 years now. And, my main motivation was my kids. And, I was talking about kids a lot in the
Mhm.
hub meetings. And then I was asked if I might be the children's ambassador. And I went, yeah, of course. And it's such an honor. And I've got a wonderful team of people around me there as well now, from all around the country, from different perspectives. Some of them are parents who've had their own journeys, and they bring their own knowledge. You know, there's a word, an expression that's currently being used in well, in the mainstream, really, but it's not a bad phrase. Experts by experience.
Yes, definitely.
And, I think we embrace that too. We're not all just practitioners talking down to people or out to people. We're sharing what we've learned. And like I always say in my clinical practice, I learn from every single student, every single patient who comes through my door. I learn something. And we all learn from each other on the Wellbeing Wednesday, don't we? And
Do.
it's just amazing how we get, little bits of feedback. Like we
I
just had something lovely the other day that inspired somebody. And then there's people who get inspired and they don't actually tell us, and we don't know. We just putting this stuff out there, and it might be years later when we find out where it's gone to.
I know. Despite asking for feedback, we have a little,
Mm,
but just looking at the amount of views we have after the event just shows that people are interested in what you and the other members of the team have to say. But just going back to you being ambassador,
mm,
with the PHA, it's about our future, but it's about our children's future and our children.
absolutely.
So for me, your ambassadorial role is so important. And what you do and you bring to the PHA and Wellbeing Wednesday is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. We're all doing what we're doing right now for future generations. I mean, and some of us have got grandchildren. And instead of sitting going, oh, it's so bleak. Oh, it's so bleak. Oh, dear me, what are we going to do? I'm a kind of person who will always try and find a solution. And that's why I felt it was a natural home for me in the PHA, because I'm surrounded by like-minded people who are trying to create opportunities for us to move forward in a really positive way
Yeah.
and not dwell too much on the negative. And, we're always saying, aren't we? Don't just do what we tell you to do, blindly trusting us, because that's what's got us in this pickle in the first place.
Yeah.
So we need to not just transfer our blind obedience to someone else who sounds like they know what they're talking about. People have got to do their own research and let things sit with themselves. And research is such an overused word too. I mean, use their instincts. I mean, listen to information, gather ideas, and then try them out, see what works. And if it doesn't work for you, then try something different. And I think you're not going to go far wrong in your life if you follow those simple principles. And I think we're all trying to unravel the complicated out of our lives, aren't we? Try and get
Yeah.
back to basics and keep things simple. And I think that's hopefully we're holding a torch up and sort of helping people find their ways. But everybody has got their own little path, haven't they?
I think what I found as well with Wellbeing Wednesday and the things you talk about, for example, cross crawl, and some things that we do, us lay people, we do automatically. So for those that don't know me, I teach fitness sessions and bring some of that to Wellbeing Wednesday. And part of my routines, my warm up, some of my moves involves cross crawl. Well, I never knew I was doing cross crawl. And then when you explained actually the science, or not the science, but
It is kind of science, yeah. It's about the inner workings of the physical body.
hmm,
And currently, science is all about that. But let's look forward to the day when science involves energy
yeah,
and spirit and emotion, because that's where we're headed, I feel, isn't it? And
yeah,
and
well,
so
yeah,
yeah, I
and
think
that's
I
what
think yeah.
I'll say. Sorry, that's what Wellbeing Wednesday and PHA are about. It's encompassing mind, body, and soul. That's what we want to do, isn't it? And that's what we try and bring every week to Wellbeing Wednesday.
Yeah, yeah, working from the heart.
It's brilliant. So,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about your hub.
Okay, well, yes, like I said, there's about 20 of us started off meeting up and going, wouldn't we like a hub? What would it look like? And I went, well, it can't just. And I was pretty clear in those meetings that I didn't want us to just be another complementary or alternative health clinic, because why would we be doing that? We're not just setting up that. We're making some place where people can come and feel part of it, not just being receiving. Again, it's like involving the community
Mm,
in what we're doing. So we want to invite in people who can contribute in different ways that aren't necessarily practitioners, but who have life experience. Again, the experts by experience, but also who have knowledge about other things. Like, for example, a couple of weeks ago, we had a lovely lady come in and share her preserving methods.
wow.
And they call it canning, but it's
Oh
not
yeah.
involving cans. It's
Mm,
it's jars in a pressure cooker with the stuff inside that can keep for months and years even.
wow.
And that is phenomenal because, you know, everybody's been a bit worried and hearing stories about food shortages and stuff like this. Well, if we can do a bit of preparing like that, we can rest easy. I mean, it's not quite like stockpiling toilet paper, but it is kind of making sure we've got the supplies in that we're going to need in case times get a little tricky in the interim before we create this beautiful new way of being that we're all moving towards.
It's a good way
That's
of sharing as well, isn't it? Because not everybody has to do all the vegetables or fruits. It can be something that can be swapped within the hub, I suppose.
sure. Well, yes, and shared, and hopefully, I mean, she's got a wonderful little group over on the other side of town. They've got an allotment, a shared allotment, and they, not many people know this, but if 6 people come together and ask for a piece of land, the local authority has got some kind of clause in their whatevers that they do, that they ought to be giving people a piece of land.
Well,
Now, in our area, the council has let go of the allotments. They're not responsible for them anymore. There's a kind of a corporation.
oh,
Yeah, I know. I don't want to even use that word, but the council used to be called the corporation, didn't it?
mm.
Back in the day, in the, ancient past. My grandparents always used to talk about the corporation, didn't it? Um, but yeah, so because my accent isn't from Yorkshire, people think, what? My roots are very much Yorkshire and Cumbria and Lancashire too, but I've settled in Yorkshire a long time ago, so I was born in Canada. I need to mention that. Forget that, and people go, what? Who are you? Um, so our hub it carried on meeting in various different locations, discussing what we might look like, what we wanted in it. Then we went round various different communities, centers and places, asking people what they'd like to see in a hub, because it wasn't just about what we wanted to do; it's
Mm.
about what everybody wanted to join in with. So we got some pretty good ideas, and then suddenly one of our members found this scout hut, which has been great for starting off with, but it's very cold and damp, and we just we don't want to stay there anymore. It's too
No.
cold. But we've got new places, and now we've got opportunities for collaboration with these other groups that have been doing different things, like the food people with my friend who does the canning.
That's
And there's
amazing.
another one in another part of town that's just a coffee and a chat place for people to go and meet up, because this is what people have been suffering from, is isolation. And if we offer a place where people can just come and have a cup of tea and talk about what's on their minds. We've got a volunteer counselor now who's a
Wow,
student.
I didn't know that. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
he's just appeared, and we've just signed him up. We've decided to go a little bit organizational, because I feel we need to do for the collaborative groups and for the external scrutiny by people. We've got a constitution, and we've got our aims and visions, so that people know what we're about. It needs to be written down,
Yeah,
because not everybody's going to say the same thing. You ask somebody, and we're all going to say, well, I feel the hub is about this, and I feel the hub is about that. And then we've got a service provider agreement, which isn't an employment contract, but it's just setting out what we expect from people who offer services in the hub. And they sign it and we sign it. And so that's
this is
where we're at.
brilliant. This is such good information because we have still people setting up hubs, and the one thing people ask me all the time is, "Well, what's a hub?" I say, "Well, what do you want it to be?"
Well, yes, because there are many different types around the country and now around the world. I mean, this is why we know we're onto something,
Yeah.
because people are going, yes, this speaks to my heart. We want some of that. They're not quite sure what it is, but that's okay. It's a bit nebulous, because that means it gives people space to, if it was just off the peg, here you are, here's a formula,
Mm.
it's not going to actually fit them necessarily.
No, because
Tailor-made clothes always fit you better than the ones from the shop that are out of off a rack, right?
exactly, and it's like you said in the beginning, we don't want to be told what to do. So to have one size
Anymore. Yeah, we had
fits all,
enough of
yeah,
that.
we don't want that. I want my hub and you want your hub.
Yeah.
But tell me, June, is your ideas of the hub, has that changed? Has that evolved? Has it
Yes, it has
got to
evolved. Yeah.
original
And I
ideas?
must say, I've never had tailor-made clothes in my life, but I imagine they would fit better than the ones that I buy. Anyway, I mostly shop in charity shops, to be honest.
I love your
So
scarf, by the way. It's
yeah,
beautiful.
oh, this is my green and red for this winter social I'm going to. My
And
Christmas,
your earrings.
yeah, yeah, this afternoon. This is a Maldives scarf actually. It's got turtles and manta rays and
Wow.
fabulous things on it. Yeah.
I love it.
Um,
I love
I yeah, I love my daughter dearly, but she's far, far away. Um, but your absence makes the heart grow fonder, doesn't it? That's what we have to keep thinking.
Definitely. And although technology drives me slightly crazy, it's really good to be able to have these conversations with you because I would never have met you without good old.
Exactly. Oh, I'm so grateful for all the wonderful people that I've met and the challenging people too. I mean,
Yeah.
we're like a family that's been drawn together and now we're finding, out about each other a bit more in depth
Hmm.
because we don't want to have just superficial relationships. We
No,
want authentic relationships where we can be honest. And because if we can do that, we can give people the opportunity to feel it's okay to say how they feel. And they don't have
exactly.
to walk on eggshells or, you know, I
And
mean,
people,
yes, be careful about being kind. I mean, try and word things in a kind way, but yeah, I think this is the thing. And it has, yeah, I mean, now we're talking about skill sharing,
hmm,
like the canning, and older people maybe meeting up with younger people and giving them tutorials in how to fix things, how to reuse stuff, and how to plant things, how to grow things, about spices in the kitchen for when they grow up and leave home. And you know if they ever do, some of them never do. Not mine, other people's. Mine couldn't wait to get away. What does
oh,
that say? That we're quite adventurous. That's what I like to think. We're quite adventurous. Yeah.
you speaking about the elders, I was talking to my mum recently, and my granddad was just he would have fit right into these times with his growing, and I think she said they thought he was a little bit, way out there, and now they realise actually no, he was ahead of his time. Oh, I so wish he was here. You would have loved him. He would have loved you. And
Ah,
yeah, we would have had a laugh. But we need older people in the community. We need them, and we need to look after them.
yeah. And they don't need to feel like they have no purpose anymore. Just because they're not reproducing or bringing up children or earning a living and contributing to the economy, they contribute to the community with their wisdom and their knowledge and their, just generally being there as a grounding force. That's why little ones are attracted to older people. Because, well, if you believe in past lives,
Mhm.
I think we're all old souls anyway. And we have things to share with people of all ages, and we shouldn't be put into ghettos of just young people, just old people, just mums and kids. That's the old ways, and we
I
don't
think
want.
the way society has kind of almost drip fed us into this 100 miles an hour lifestyle, and the family has been a little bit forgotten, hasn't it? And I feel, especially with hubs, is this idea of bringing communities back together, but also reminds us to bring our families back together of all
Yes,
ages, maybe.
yeah, yeah, all different kinds of families, because there are so many single parent families out there, or blended families, or shared families. And it's all about coming from the heart, isn't it? This is the way forward. We've been coming from here for so long, and this is why I've been doing, the work I've been doing in healing and acupuncture and kinesiology and all the other things, and why I've always had a shared clinic, because I've never wanted to be in the spotlight by myself. I think we work much better when we work as teams,
Mhm.
even though it's slightly more challenging sometimes, because you have to have disagreements and you have to work them out. But that's what life is like, really.
And
Mm.
and going back to Wellbeing Wednesday, that's what I love is the different people that we have come and help us. give up their advice, their wisdom, their expertise, because we are all different and we all offer something, and not everybody appeals to everybody. So we try and
Well, I'm aware of that. I know that some people are going to find my views a little bit hard to swallow.
but
Yeah.
even just say Robin and I. So Robin is the gentle Shikong and a lovely gentle spirit, where I'm probably a little bit more jumping about and a bit silly. But we all have our place within the team. I think
Yes.
that's why it works.
Yes. And Helen with her wacky foraging and gathering stuff. She's got so much knowledge. I mean,
And
oh my
breaking
goodness.
into song, doesn't she? Breaks into song.
Oh yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love her to bits.
And I
Yeah.
hope
And
that this little video we're doing now, and my little plea for help, will bring more people to our team, because although you're all amazing, it'll be nice to have a few other faces, I think.
yes, and maybe we don't all have to be there every Wednesday, although I really want to listen to what everybody else has got to say, so I probably will come and just for a change.
I think you said it before. You think, oh gosh, you've got to get up early for Wednesday, but getting up and then we switch on and we see each other's faces. And for me, it just makes my Wednesday.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. I was slightly horrified when we started doing them at 7:30 in the morning. I thought, oh my God, are my eyes gonna look like pea holes in the snow? And just but it's okay because it doesn't matter what we look like. It
No,
doesn't
it doesn't.
matter. We don't care. Well, we do a little
We're
bit. We do a little bit.
but we're not, we're not on the TV trying to be something we're not. We're just trying to
Mm.
offer a little bit of help, and we have fun usually.
We do. We always have a laugh, right?
We
Well,
do.
apart from when we're talking about incredibly serious topics like last week, that was, I think it was important that we addressed grief, and I think it's something that we may revisit, mightn't we? I think
I think
there's
so.
more to do on that one.
And
Um,
I think you've said it before as well, June, about death is part of life. And our culture, we push it a little bit to the side because we can't deal with it. And hopefully, with PHA, Wellbeing Wednesday, the amazing people that we have,
mm,
we can just learn how to deal with grief, like we touched on last week, and prepare ourselves as to have death as part of life.
mm, yeah, yeah, death and birth.
And birth. And we've got with so many amazing people within the PHA, haven't we? I mean,
Mhm.
we've got Nikita, obviously, and Rachel, who's spoken on Wellbeing Wednesday, and we have death doulas as well that are registered with our practitioner directory. So
Yes.
we do have all these people amongst us. We just need them to come and give us some help and advice.
Yeah, I mean, it's making me think we need to maybe reach out to them. They don't have a group, do we necessarily have
No,
a I started an acupuncture group, but it's kind of like dormant. I mean, I think we did get a bit overwhelmed with all the numbers of groups, didn't we, for a while there?
yeah,
We had
but
to streamline.
going forward, I think that's a good idea. And I can see the cogs turning, June. You're always full of hundreds and millions, aren't
I'm thinking, yeah, yeah, yeah.
you? But
Well,
you
I love the idea of the Elders Council. I think we need a collective of older crones and wizards or whatever, to actually just be some kind of stabilizing force like we have in the hubs potentially,
how would you see that working with PHA? So if you had the group, what would their role be?
that's a good question. um I don't know, maybe just having, maybe people are tired of Zoom webinars, but I mean, maybe having a Zoom meeting with people, just asking questions and talking. That's what I could see right now.
Just the older
Yeah,
expertise, the people that have
yeah,
all that
yeah,
wisdom within them.
yeah, yeah, something like that. Just helping to steer the ship. Because the bigger we get, it's tricky. Things are always easier when you've got a smaller group of people because everybody knows each other. But once it gets so big that there's thousands of people, the same thing's happening in our acupuncture organization. I left one that was too big and it was too cumbersome and not really looking after its members. And I went to another one, which is now getting big, but it's really looking after its members. But this, we don't know each other all. It's
Mm.
like it's become it's a bigger
I think
thing.
as well with the PHA, and the motto is for the people, by the people. And we've always been for the people, but we don't necessarily have enough people to be by the people. So,
Yes,
there are a lot of groups, there's a lot of people sitting in them, but we need them. If you want it to be by the people, then the people need to step up and help out.
we need to have some input from them, and they need to have clear channels in which to do that. And I think participatory democracy is not something that we've ever had in this country.
Mm.
People go to vote or not, and then they sit back and they let their elected representatives do all the hard work or not.
Mm.
Um, and then they don't see it as their responsibility to hold them to account, to engage with them, to go to council meetings and say, hey, what about this? I mean,
Hmm.
there's a bunch of nutters like myself who go along and go, why are you spraying stupid herbicides outside our houses? Knock it off. And, so we're getting somewhere with that
Yep.
one slowly. But most people just sit back and go, oh, well, what can I do? And I think that's going to change. We're coming up to the year of the dragon. Things are getting faster. People are going, hey, maybe I do have some power because dragons are about power, taking control, you know, actually moving forward.
Brilliant. I think the tide is turning, and I think even within Wellbeing Wednesday and PHA that we all hot-footed it, didn't we, to try and make a change and work together. And it's now time to set the future, what we're going to do next.
Hmm.
And there's something very exciting that you have your eye on, or your goal, don't you?
Yes, yes. Well, yes. I think we need to look at all these different hubs around the city that we've got a network of hubs, much like we've got a network of hubs around the country, and we've got a network of hubs around the world. And it's those kind of we've got core central people, but things ripple out and they've got to the communication. I really feel the age of Aquarius is about communication, isn't it? And
Mhm.
it's about two-way flow and round the circle. And I can see people getting in touch with each other. I mean, people have asked me to like be a hub consultant. I do mentoring as well. So I'm
Your spare
kind of
time.
I'm a hub. Well, no, it's one of my. It's a work thing. I do it. Supposed to get paid for it, but but I am kind of a hub mentor now because of the work that we've done, and because I have that training.
Mhm.
I'm able to encourage people. Is that what you meant, or did you mean something?
Well, no, no, well, it isn't what I meant, but that does answer the question somewhat, because we have discussed before how the channels of communication need to be, open a bit more freely within PHA, and I think that is going to happen. But
Hmm.
I was hoping that you'd elaborate on the youth hubs.
Oh yes. Oh gosh, yes, of course. Yes. So the idea always has been to care for the children and the future for the children and the grandchildren, because we know they're going to have a better time, but we can't just sit back and go, yeah, of course, it's all just going to happen by magic, because there is magic afoot. Let's make no mistake, but we need to actually create a space for
Mhm.
the young people, and this is our idea: is to we've got a hub blueprint, but it's very cumbersome. It's overly long and very kind of prescriptive in my view. And I was part of the team that wrote it. So, you have to look back at what you've done and go, okay. maybe we need to do this a little bit differently. And I think what we're planning now is to try and get something pared down, simplified, and be an exemplar of, I'm not sure where it's going to be in the country. And hopefully I'll be able to support wherever it might be. And we'll just try and make sure that the young people have the support they need, because mental health wise, I mean, this is where Helen's fab First Assist Being Well comes in too. And I know you're going to talk to Helen shortly, and that's her branch of things. So yeah, I think we're all kind of settling into our roles, and it's taken us a year or so to work this out. And it will keep evolving and changing, because
Yeah,
that's the way life is, right?
exactly. And it's not like that's all you're doing. You have so much going on. Honestly, you're probably the busiest person I know.
I'll say that, but I do go to bed early. I try anyway.
And you
Yeah.
managed to fit meditation in and
Yes, I haven't
the
done that
oily
yet.
witch.
Young, and yes. And yes, I've got to go and get that video ready for tomorrow. Yes.
Yes, and you must go to bed early because we're up early in the morning for Wellbeing Wednesday.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
I just absolutely love speaking to you always. There's always something new I learn, and you're so willing to help out if I send you a message. June, help. Can you help with this?
Yes, absolutely. As quick as I can, try and get there. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
just so much information. And thank you so much. Thank you for being who you are and for helping me set up Wellbeing Wednesday, being a massive part of the team.
Well, thank you for you. I mean, God bless you. You're just a shining light. And that's what we're here for, is to shine our lights. And sometimes we get tired and we need to stop and rest and look after ourselves, which is why I do a lot of the self-care things.
Mhm.
And I don't say it lightly. I need to remember to do it for me too. Yeah.
Definitely. And what I'll do at the end of this video and on in the description is put all the little places people can find you, because don't forget we've got your Touch for Health workshop as well that people can access. So I
Oh
can
gosh, yeah.
that, and then I will put the link to all the Wellbeing Wednesday recordings, because there's so much information that you and the team put together weekly. And also just thank you for everything you do for PHA as well. You're an amazing ambassador.
Oh,
You are
and there we go.
you are what an ambassador should be. You know, you do so much and you share so much, and spreading the word that
Spreading
you
love and joy, hopefully.
love and joy. June, thank you so much. Really enjoyed,
Thank you.
and we'll do this again soon.
Thanks, Kerry. Yeah.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.